analysts. India, a country Washington only recently regarded as a key partner and a counterweight to China in Asia, is making a sharp turn. And what's especially important is that this turn is not just in some neutral direction, but directly against the United States. Donald Trump, confident that sharply raising tariffs would force New Delhi to give in and play by Washington's rules, seems to have underestimated just how much the balance of power has shifted in the region and in the global economy overall. The first warning signs appeared in publications by the Economic Times of India and the British Financial Times. Citing senior officials and business sources, both newspapers reported that New Delhi is considering freezing major projects of American corporations on its soil. And at the top of the list is Apple, the very symbol of US technological power. For Washington, this came as a blow, since in recent years, India had become the main destination for Apple's shift of production away from China. It's worth recalling, just a few years ago, Apple's leadership made a strategic choice. After decades of working hand in glove with China's Foxconn factories, the company faced mounting geopolitical risk. Escalating US-China tensions, trade wars, sanctions, rising nationalism, and tightening tech laws. All of this made Beijing an unreliable partner for a corporation worth nearly $3 trillion. That's when Cupertino began looking for alternatives, and they found one: India. The reasons were clear. First, India is one of the largest and fastest-growing smartphone markets in the world. More than 1.4 billion people, with hundreds of millions just entering the consumer class for premium devices. Second, the country offered massive tax breaks and subsidies to foreign investors. And third, the political factor. Washington saw New Delhi as an ally that could balance China's growing power. Apple fit perfectly into that strategy. By creating tens of thousands of jobs and investing billions of dollars in India, the company not only diversified its risks, but also strengthened US influence in the region. But now, this entire strategy may backfire on the United States itself. According to Bloomberg sources within India's Ministry of Commerce, New Delhi is weighing not only halting new Apple factories, but also freezing production lines already under construction. This is explosive news. India is essentially threatening to cut off oxygen to one of the world's most profitable corporations, and it is doing so openly, as retaliation against Trump's tariff policy. Trump went all in. His new order imposes additional tariffs on a wide range of Indian goods, from textiles to pharmaceuticals. The official argument: protecting American jobs. But in India, it was seen as a direct humiliation. The Hindustan Times, citing sources close to the government, wrote, "Washington has underestimated how much India has changed. If before the country had no choice but to listen to the US, today it has its own levers of pressure, and those levers are not only economic. Behind India now stands China, and that is perhaps the worst-case scenario for American diplomacy." Just yesterday, Trump was assuring his voters he could play New Delhi against Beijing, exploiting their traditional rivalry. But reality is shifting. According to the South China Morning Post, Chinese and Indian delegations have held several closed-door meetings in Dubai and Jakarta in recent months. They discussed joint energy projects, settling trade in national currencies, and even coordinating positions for the upcoming BRICS summit. If this is confirmed, Washington risks losing far more than just a market for its goods. Losing India means losing the very counterweight to China that the US had counted on, and that would amount to a strategic catastrophe. Western media are calling it nothing short of a geopolitical earthquake. The Guardian writes, "Trump is driving India straight into China's arms with his own hands." The American journal Foreign Affairs put it bluntly: Washington underestimated the rise of India's influence. The country is no longer a junior partner and is increasingly acting as an independent power center. For Apple, this could come as a true shock. According to the analytics firm Counterpoint Research, by the year 2027, nearly 1/4 of all iPhones worldwide were supposed to be assembled in India. Already today, iPhone 12, 13, and 14 are being manufactured there, with future flagship models planned as well. The Foxconn, Pegatron, and Wistron factories in the Indian states of Tamil Nadu and Karnataka are running at full capacity. Billions of dollars have been invested, and contracts signed with tens of thousands of workers. And suddenly, the risk that all of this could be frozen. In other words, New Delhi's move could hit not only Apple, but the US economy itself. To the global audience, it would look like this. The world's largest democracy, a strategic ally of America, suddenly takes a stance of open confrontation. What's next? According to Reuters, the White House is urgently preparing retaliatory measures. Options under discussion include restricting Indian IT companies' access to the US market and revising visa privileges for Indian specialists. But needless to say, such steps would hurt the United States as well. After all, Indian engineers make up the backbone of Silicon Valley, driving development at Google, Microsoft, and dozens of startups. Meanwhile, as Washington searches for new levers of pressure, New Delhi's statements are growing louder. The picture that emerges is striking. India, once seen as America's ally in the Asian game against China, is transforming into an independent player ready to challenge Washington itself. If this shift truly happens, the consequences will be enormous. From a crisis at Apple and shocks to the US stock market to a radical reshaping of the global political order. As analysts at Germany's Handelsblatt note, Trump may find himself in a situation where his own actions dismantle the very strategy that American presidents had spent decades building. In Asia, the US would be left with only Japan and South Korea, while India, instead of containing China, could start working alongside it. And that could prove Trump's greatest foreign policy defeat. Because losing India means losing future influence in the region where the fate of the 21st century will be decided. Yet the most troubling aspect is the deeper logic at play. For the first time, India is showing that it is prepared to use its new economic power, not just for domestic growth, but also as a tool of foreign policy pressure. And that fundamentally changes the rules of the game. And all of this is happening as India prepares to host the BRICS Plus summit. According to sources cited by Financial Express, it may be there that the official announcement is made on the creation of new settlement mechanisms in rupees and yuan for major energy transactions. For Trump, this would be a shock. After all, for decades the dollar has been the primary tool of American influence. But if New Delhi and Beijing move forward with this step, the dollar will lose part of its unique role, and the US will lose yet another lever of pressure. Ultimately, Washington itself is pushing India into the arms of the very forces it is trying to oppose. Trump sought to punish New Delhi with tariffs, but instead, he handed Indian leaders a political argument they had lacked for decades. We are strong, we are independent, and we can say no to the United States. This has become not only a slogan for India's elite, but also a point of national pride. And now analysts are asking the question, is America repeating the same mistake it once made with China? Back then, the US believed that integration into global trade would make Beijing a compliant partner, but China became competitor number one. Today, the same logic is beginning to take shape with India. A country Washington long viewed as an ally is turning into an independent global player. And perhaps this will become the defining legacy of the Trump era. A world in which the United States loses not only friends, but also the very ability to dictate the rules.